Hello, listeners, and welcome back. Today, we are going to be discussing romance movies that are good to watch as a couple. With Valentine's Day fastly approaching, I wanted to give all the couples out there a few recommendations on what to watch. So, here are some romance recommendations that could be good to watch as a couple. First up, we have Passengers. Even though this is a highly sci fi based movie, it is still very heavy with the elements of romance. We follow Jim after being isolated on a ship for a year, where he battles with the everyday decision of whether or not to wake up another fellow passenger. Aurora, when he wakes her up, the two are now stranded on the ship together and have no choice but to find solitude in one another. The reason I think this would be a good movie for couples to watch is it is a very highly couple-based movie. We watch these two characters meet, find a connection, and fall in love. It's also a very opposites attract romance. The Aurora being more of the sophisticated journalist and Jim being more of the hardworking handyman. We watch the two battle obstacles as individuals and together. It shows us a couple that even though they were stuck together by a situation, they were always meant to meet and be together. It is a good recommendation for couples as we watch Jim and Aurora grow into a couple and fight for one another. And overall, it should keep you engaged with the foreshadowing of the impending doom the ship they're on and the aesthetics of space. Next up, we have Mr. and Mrs. Smith. I feel like this is a lot of couples' fantasy movies. I'm sure a lot of couples have fantasized that if they could live in one fictional world together, it would be Mr. and Mrs. Smith. The movie follows a married couple who are both assassins but don't actually know they're each assassins. That is until they are targeted to kill one another and find out who each other really are. Ordered by their two separate organizations to kill one another, realize they can't do it, and then team up to take down the organizations. Like, what's not to love? It has mystery, it has romance, it has suspense, it has action, everything to keep you well and truly engaged and having a good time. I recommend it for couples as is a fun idea and premise to fantasize about with your partner. Another reason it'd be a good recommendation for couples would be that it's a movie about couples. It doesn't show the regular trajectory of romance of them meeting and slowly falling in love. The movie takes place after they have already been married. It shows the ups and downs of being in the relationships. It shows that no matter who you are, you can have trouble and difficulties. Just because these two are these real badass assassins in their own rights, even they still need help navigating a relationship, which is why we see them in therapy at the beginning of the movie and at the end. We watch the evolution of their marriage go from them being young and in love to the routine of being stuck in a marriage to them being back young and in love again. Overall, Mr. and Mrs. Smith is just an incredible movie. And even though it might be an odd pick, I still think it is a perfect pick for couples to watch on Valentine's Day. Next up, we have Adjustment Bureau. Now, a lot of you may be thinking Adjustment Bureau, that's not a romance movie. Why would it be on this list? Well, just hear me out because it may be not far off of the romance movie as you may think. I mean, after all, the movie is about two people that know they want to be together and desperately want to be together, but are consistently being pulled apart by the world. By that description alone, it makes it seem if it is just solely a romance movie. And yes, there is still a lot more that comes into it. The story follows David, a politician on the verge of winning, when he meets Elise. The two instantly form a connection. However, a group of mysterious men continue to pull them apart. These men call themselves the Adjustment Bureau. The Adjustment Bureau is an organization of people that monitor the population's plan, which is another way of saying their path of life. So the Adjustment Bureau monitor the average population and make sure that everyone stays on their required life plan. David and Elise were meant to meet, but only just the once. It does not feel like that for them, however, and they always find themselves thinking and gravitating towards one another despite the world pulling them apart. I find it might be nice for couples to watch as it traces a relationship of two people fighting for each other.
I don't care what you put in my way, I'm not giving up.
For those of you who still may not be convinced that this can be classed as a couple's romance movie, then you've clearly never seen Matt Damon and Emily Blunt's chemistry on screen. Their bathroom scene where they meet for the first time is one of the most underrated meet-cutes. In my opinion, it is lighthearted and funny, and immediately get drawn in with their chemistry and connection.
Oh, you like politicians?
I like it when they do stuff I can relate to.
Like pull their pants down.
I love that.
You can really see and feel the characters fall in love with one another, therefore making you fall in love with the story even more. Other romantic tropes will include Damon's character David taking up the same bus every day for 3 years, just so we would hope to run into Elise again.
Hi.
David.
I rode the M6 to work every day for 3 years, hoping that I'd bump into you.
Or when Elise admitted the reason she didn't marry her ex-fiancé is because the experience she had with David was too good, she didn't want to settle for any less.
He sounds great. Why didn't you marry him?
Because of you. I'm not some hopeless romantic. I've never allowed myself to be that way. But once I felt, even for a moment, what I felt with you, you ruined me. I didn't want to settle for less.
If those moments aren't counted as peak romance for you and you still don't think that this movie deserves a spot on this list, then there really is no hope. Switching it up a bit, getting into the genres that you probably were expecting, we have Little Italy. Nikki and Leo have been best friends since they were kids, but a fight between both their parents forced the two to separate and for Nikki to leave town. Years later, Nikki is now back in Little Italy. Can Ho and Leo rebuild what they once had? Little Italy is the perfect, light-hearted, fun, funny romance. I recommend it for couples due to all of the fun tropes it displays. We have a lot of humor, family, and friendship. We have friends to lovers. There's plenty of laughter, fun, and food, particularly pizza. There's a lot of pizza in this movie. I recommend it for couples because not only is it lighthearted and fun, but it also showcases a lot of different coupley tropes within the one movie. We have each of the parents and their witty banter dynamic. We watch as the grandpa and the grandma navigate a romance together, showing us the evolution of not only young love, but also old love. We even have a mini enemies to lovers with the shop helpers, as each of the parents' pizza parlors has a employee working for them, and throughout the movie we watch these two employees have this witty hatred banter for one another, and even though it blossoms into an enemies to lovers, it did get quite savage at sometimes.
Next time I see you on Sal's territory, I'll squash you like a malaria mosquito in Mumbai.
They say karma is a real bitch. Are the two of you related? I would insult your mother, but cows are sacred in India.
Hey, you'll never be the man that your mother is.
Oh, I must go.
Then of course we have our main attraction, Nikki and Leo, as our friends to lovers, with a little bit of Romeo and Juliet vibes mixed in. Due to the two parents fighting, it makes it difficult for the kids to be with one another and get along, causing it to have that classic Romeo and Juliet vibe. And then to take it all over the top, we have one of the most underrated but best stay with me lines, delivered by Hayden Christensen's Leo.
I don't want us to have to let each other win. I want us to both win together. Please, Nikki, stay. Not for me, with me.
Overall, Little Italy is a really good romantic comedy to watch for Valentine's Day. It is especially good for couples as it doesn't matter what kind of relationship you're in, whether you're married, young couple, or an old couple. There is something in there that everyone can relate to. It is a perfect pick for you and your partner on Valentine's Day. Next on this list, we have one of the most underrated romances in my opinion, Endless Love. And I am not talking about the 1981 film where a guy liked a girl and needed to get her attention and burn her house down and they both end up in like a psych ward or something. That is not the Endless Love I am referring to. I am referring to the 2014 Endless Love starring Gabriella Wilde and Alex Pettyfer. David has had a crush on the beautiful and enchanting Jade Butterfield for all of high school, but he could never find the right moment to make a move. Now with all of them graduating, it is David's last chance to make a move on Jade before they are all separated forever. This movie is so underrated and so beautiful. We watch David as he makes a move on Jade right after they graduate. After the two only spending hours together, they both realize that they share something special that they're not willing to let go of. We watch them spend this magical, endless summer together, only for them to be pulled apart by the world and their families. This is a great movie for couples as it showcases a beautiful display of young love and falling in love for the first time. It shows the relationship of a beautiful, dedicated, in-love couple fighting for each other. It's inspiring to couples to watch what they go through and how they keep fighting for one another despite everything that's thrown their way, and who and what tries to keep them apart. It has some truly heartwarming and unforgettable moments, like when David offended Jade's honor.
Go inside.
Well, it's gonna take a lot more than stealing my car to get her to spread her legs.
Oh, shit.
The dance together they do at the graduation party, their first kiss, the montage of them dating shows many romantic moments. When David's talking about how love should always come first.
That's what I want to find. True love, the kind that you fight for, that you always put first. That makes you want to be good and do better. And not just with any girl, but the girl. And when I find that, that's all I need.
And many, many more unforgettable moments. Overall, Endless Love is a beautiful romance movie and highly underrated. The reason I chose it for this list as a Valentine's couples recommendation is it is a whole movie based around a young couple falling in love and being together. It can cause couples to remember their fun times together, and it is also a very inspiring relationship to watch as we watch these two characters fight for one another despite everything that's thrown in their way and the little time that they have had together. Overall, I believe just ticks all the boxes that you need and would recommend as the perfect couples recommendation for Valentine's Day. That is all for this video. Let me know some of the recommendations you like or maybe didn't like. Do you agree that these are good romance movies to watch with your partner? Are there others I should have included? And what are some of your favorite romance movies to watch as a couple? That is all for this episode. As always, everything we discussed will be linked below along with my socials. Please be sure to like, subscribe and follow. Feel free to leave all your thoughts and comments below. Thanks for listening.